Hello and welcome to Pickleball Therapy, the podcast dedicated to your pickleball improvement. We hope the tips that we bring to you every week on Pickleball Therapy will help you in your pickleball game and your life at large. In this week's podcast, I'm going to give you some tips, actually 3 is what I'm aiming for, on how you can improve as a pickleball player, particularly when maybe you don't have time or someone to drill with. And then in the riff, I'm going to give you a brief intro into the 2-stack rotation concept. It's a really important, or really interesting, I should say, way of thinking about the game. Let's get into it. You've studied the pickleball videos, maybe read a pickleball book, taken a lesson or two, but there's just something missing, something to complete the whole picture. That's where VIPickleball comes in. VIPickleball is the most immersive pickleball learning community available today. You can check out more information at wearepickleball.com. See you in the community. As you no doubt know by now, CJ Johnson and I have an online pickleball learning community that we curate and coach called VIPickleball. And in that community, we get feedback from our members in terms of what's working, what's helping them with their games. Obviously, when we go into, whether it's a module, a video, a lecture, anything that we're doing, a webinar, we have certain ideas as to what we understand is going to work and what we believe is going to work. But, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. So, it's always helpful to know what it is that is actually working for our members, for players out there who are improving. And what I wanted to share with you on this podcast are 3 areas that you can bring into your game that you can hopefully help you improve as a pickleball player when you don't have time or when you don't have someone to drill with. On-court drilling is good. In fact, I'm going to go out and do some today with my friend Tyson. But it's not the only way to learn pickleball, not the only way to improve in pickleball. It'll help you with your stroke mechanics. It'll help you with muscle memory and reading the ball and things like that. But there's actually a lot more to pickleball than simply reading the ball and making sure it contacts with the paddle. So there's 3 tips that I wanted to share with you that based on feedback that we've gotten from members in the VIPickleball community in terms of what's working for them. First one I want to share are basically like indoor or solo drills. You can look at them this way. You can do them outdoors too. They don't have to be indoor, but basically off-court drills, let's call them that. So off-court drills are a really effective way to improve as a pickleball player. Off-court drills generally focus on things like muscle memory, on basically racket control kind of concepts, backswing control. Basically, they're stroke mechanic drills that you can do in order to improve your muscle memory, and then when you get out on the court, you'll be much better for it. Several of our members have done these, particularly given, COVID and also just weather conditions up north where they've been off court. They've been able to spend a few hours, and when I say a few hours, I'm talking over some time, just a few minutes every day, basically working on their stroke mechanics, on shortening their backswing, and on improving the muscle memory of their shots. Then once they get out on the court again, it's amazing to them how they're basically able to hit balls in ways that they were not used to hitting them before because they were able to do these indoor off-court drills while they were not playing. So if you want to improve as a pickleball player, one thing I recommend, or we recommend, are basically doing these off-court drills for stroke mechanics. And what you're going to do there, what you're focusing on there is you're focusing on your backswing and your stroke mechanic, not making it too long. So you want to have a nice compact stroke mechanic. That'll really help you get out on the court. Second thing you can do in order to improve as a pickleball player that does not require you to have on-court time is to work on your balance, flexibility, and strength. You can also work on your cardio, but I want to focus in here on balance, flexibility, and strength. So balance would mean that you can basically, you're not feeling like you're going to topple over, right? So you can basically, and mobility too, you can basically move to the ball in a comfortable way, in a well-balanced way. Balance is really important when you're out on the pickleball court. If you're going to be, dinking or just moving from the baseline to the MVZ, having good balance when you get to the MVZ will really help you get set for your volley. Flexibility obviously is going to help you also not only while you're playing, but also between sessions in terms of recovery. It's really important. And strength is often overlooked. And we're not talking about going to the gym and lifting 400 pounds or anything like that. What we're talking about here is if you're gonna be able to, let's say, play up at the non-volley zone line and hold a position up there, ready position up there, you're going to need some muscle strength, both in your legs, in your core, and in your arms. So you're going to want to do some exercises to help on that. And it could be simply just getting sitting down and standing up, sitting down and standing up, sitting down and standing up. That'll work your legs out. It also work your core out. There's exercise you can do on a chair to work your core out. And arm exercises you can do with, a can of tomatoes, can of corn, like we say, a can of corn at the house. So those are areas that can really help you improve your pickleball play. And you'll be amazed when you get out on the court again, if you've worked on your balance and mobility, you've worked on your flexibility some, and you've worked on your strength, how much better you're able to play. And I'm going to say simply, but I don't mean simply in a negative way, but simply because you've done these things off the court, things that may not seem at first glance to be related to pickleball or directly related to pickleball once you get out on the court. The third tip I'm going to give you is to become a student of the game. If you don't already study the game, if you don't already understand the game, it is very difficult to play pickleball well, or to play pickleball at the highest level that you can play, if you don't understand what's going on out there. If you don't understand, where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, the objectives of what you're trying to accomplish. If we're simply out there hitting the ball around, again, nothing against that. I say it every time, nothing against that kind of thought process while you're out there. Perfectly fine to just go out there and get some exercise and see your friends and things like that. That's great. But if you want to improve as a pickleball player, then you need to add a component of understanding what's going on out there on the court, so that then you can match that understanding to your skill set. In other words, your mobility, your ability to hit balls, things like that. Marry those two together, and now you have a well-rounded pickleball player. As always, if you need help with understanding the game, that is something that we really focus on at VIPickleball. You can visit us at wearepickleball.com and check it out. But that's something that CJ and I work very hard on to help our members understand the game better with game breakdowns and things like that. But if you understand the game, you'll be a much better player. And if you don't join VIPickleball, that's perfectly fine too. Just study the game. Go online. There's got to be, I don't even know anymore. There's got to be, not a million, but, there's thousands of videos out there. You can watch different levels of play. You can study their play. You can break it down yourself. You can watch the YouTube videos and things like that. But you watch them with a critical eye, where you're trying to really increase your understanding of the game, whether it's inside VIPickleball or outside. Pickleball improvement is not limited to being on court. If you can incorporate all these three tips, or even just one of them, into your routine, you'll definitely see improvement when you're back out on the pickleball court. In the riff, we're going to talk about the two-stack rotation. Or two-rotation stack, I should say. It's a really interesting subject. Stay tuned for the riff. You'd like to help your friend or family member learn how to play pickleball. But how? Now it's easy. Pick up a copy of Play Pickleball, A Beginner's Guide. It's the most complete guide to playing pickleball. Available as a digital download or in hard copy at intopickle.com or at Amazon. Let's keep growing the sport. In this week's video, I break down a match where a team was up. They were up 10-1 early. It's actually a game to 21. It was a tournament format, game to 21, single game to 21 match. The one team was up 10-1. Then they were up the whole game, basically the whole match, until it got to 17-14 that they were up. Then they got stuck on 17. The other team overtook them to 19-17, and then the match ended with the team that had been down the entire match winning 21-18. I know that, that's something that's happened to all of us. It's happened to me. I know that, and I'm pretty confident it's happened to everybody listening to this game, where you're up in a match, and then next thing you know, you're wondering what happened, and the other team's up there celebrating their comeback win. And what I wanted to talk about, what I talked about in this week's video, and I'm gonna riff on a little bit today, is what can you do when you're stuck in a situation like the team that ended up losing was stuck at 17. They actually were stuck at 17 for a total of 16 rallies. So they played 16 times in a row, stuck at 17 in the formation that we're in. And what I want to focus on is, what can you do to kind of get out of that rut, to get out of that situation that you're in when you're in a score that maybe puts you in a formation or in a position that is not the most advantageous to you. And I know this word causes some players to break out into a cold sweat, but trust me, it is not as complicated as you may make it in your mind. The thing that you can do to break out of that kind of formational disadvantage that you're in when you're stuck at a score that's simply not working is to stack. And particularly on serve. Serve stack is a fairly easy concept, fairly easy to do. And so what you want to do is, the shorthand for it is the two rotation serve stack. And basically think of it this way. If you've served a couple of times, so you've gone a 1 and a 2, a 1 and a 2, and not scored a point, so you're stuck at 17, the next time you go to serve, 100% you're going to stack on the first server, and if you need to, you're going to still stack on the second server. And the reason you're doing it is to give the opponents a different look, but also to put yourself in a different formation, kind of switch things up a little bit. What you don't want to do is do what the team that was in that match that I mentioned earlier did, which is basically got stuck at 17, stayed in the same formation that they were in at 17 for 16 points in a row. Law ended up losing 5 points, so not side outs, but points, only scoring 1 point when they finally broke out of 17 to get to 18. So, you don't want to be in that kind of situation where you're basically scoring, the other team scoring 5 points to your 1 point, allowing them to take over the game and win the match. You want to take control of the situation. As we constantly repeat on here, you want to be the protagonist, right? You want to be in control of the game. And in order to be in control of the game, you need to learn how to stack, even if it is only on serve. If you're interested in learning more about stacking, check out our free guide at wearepickleball.com. I'll link to it below. All right, folks, that's it for this week's podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the podcast, please share it with your friends. Remember, if you liked it, they probably will too. Stay well out there.